Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk about all news, comics, and media related to the Transformers. On this episode, we speculate on the future of Hasbro's entertainment strategy. A new Transformers VR game is now available, and Transformers EarthSpark gets a new teaser trailer, or two. Today is Friday, September 9th, 2022, and this is episode 302, Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that hopes Artemis finally launched by the time this podcast is online. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Scott, the illustrious Dr. Pants.
Hello, everyone.
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Cheers, everyone. Let's talk Transformers.
Daryl didn't get the memo that he should not be drinking or eating on camera.
Uh-oh.
I gotta find another place to do it. Why not now?
As always, we start off the show by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who support us on Patreon and PayPal. Thank you all so much for continuing to help us out and keep the show going. We really appreciate it. If you're not already a Donatreon and would like to become one, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support, and that's where you can sign up. You get some perks, get some access to some exclusive shows, and are entered into our monthly contests automatically. So lots of cool things to get if you become a Transmissions Donatreon. So one of the exclusive shows that we have for our Donatrons is the show hosted by these two guys. Was it Daryl and
me,
Dr. Pants down there?
Yeah.
We Like Big Bots, and that's coming. The second episode of that show is coming this Monday, September 12th. This is a show we only do on YouTube, so it's not in our audio feed, but it's on our YouTube through our Patreon page. So if you're our Donatron, that's how you get access. Because it's very visual, because it's all about big bots. And this week, I think it's the biggest bot of all that you guys are talking about. What are you guys talking about?
Well, it's got to be Unicron. That's the biggest bot, isn't it?
Yes.
Must be Unicron. Yep.
That was a really great setup there, Charles. I appreciate that. Yeah, we talk all about Unicron, show off a couple of Unicron toys, because between the two of us, we have some stuff.
Yep.
We have toys. So, you know.
We got some. Yep.
And we got some. We talked about some in the regular show, too. But, you know. But yeah, check that out. It's always a lot of fun to talk with Daryl about toys. And honestly, it's just a lot of fun, because we just like to talk about it and say, hey, look how cool this thing is. Look how big it is. Because
we have a lot of fun talking about these big bots.
Right. We love big bots, and we cannot lie.
Hopefully Sir Mix-a-Lot does not sue us.
I've seen what other people have done with that. I'm pretty sure he's okay with it.
And in the free feed of Empire of Rust this Monday, we've got the next episode. So the bonus episode came out for Donatrons this week. That was episode 84. The Custabot is Always Right. And now the regular version of episode 84 will be out in the Empire of Rust free feed. That is at transmissionspodcast.com/rust. And that will also be out Monday, September 12th. So look forward to that for all of our Empire of Rust listeners. Our Transformers Live Play RPG podcast, the first and only Transformers Live Play RPG podcast. That is run by, of course, our awesome producer and editor, Mike. All right, let's get into alt mode, and we will start off with some comics news. All right, so we just have one bit of comics news this week. So this is from the Japanese, they do manga for their tour releases, and this one is by Hayato Sakamoto, and this is for the Transformers Legacy Speedia 500. You can see it's a 2-page comic featuring all the toys there. You can see Road Rocket, Blur, Dia, Burnout, Road Hauler in the front. You've got Scourge and Clampdown and Override in the back there. Also being cheered on by Swerve and is that Nightbird there? And we've got Lift Ticket in the background there, and Devastator. Even Devastator is watching. I guess he's watching his former friend Road Hauler and cheering him on. And of course, Cosmos is there waving the flag to start the race there. And it looks like Cosmos is doing the announcement too. So yeah, it's a cool. The artwork is really awesome for this by Hayato Sakamoto. And featuring all the Speedia 500 toys. So this is very cool.
I think he was the one who did all the artwork for the current or the previous like Legends comic too.
Yes.
I do love that Nightbird is dressed up like a Japanese kind of racing girl. like no one else is dressed up at all, but she's wearing clothes to be like a stereotypical like Japanese race girl. I think that's kind of fun. Just a nice little spin on that.
Yeah, so and I believe these comics are usually if someone in the fan community will translate them in a few weeks, so we should have the English translation relatively soon. But for right now, enjoy that artwork, or if you can read Japanese, enjoy the story too. So there you go. Okay, that's all our comics news, and we'll move on to Transformers media news.
All right, and in media news this week, we're going to start off with some super exciting businessy business news because everyone likes to learn about Hasbro business, dealings through, through us, because we are graduates of business school. So
what?
The first topic we have.
Unfortunately, Jeremy's not here to help us out with the business stuff, but
that's
we'll
right.
Make it
Jeremy
through.
would be our business guy. But the first topic we have is the Hasbro is reevaluating its entertainment plans. So if you have been following, Hasbro has been, in the business of making movies in the last little while, and they've got G.I. Joe under their belt. They've got a Dungeons and Dragons movie coming out, and a slew of Transformers movies that have been made, to varying degrees of success. So what they've done is because of a couple of different things. The COVID-19 pandemic wreaked a lot of havoc on the Hollywood box office, and the unfortunate passing of the Hasbro CEO, Brian Goldner, are basically the main causes of their reevaluation. They are looking to take some of the existing staff at E1. So that is another entertainment property that they acquired a number of years ago, which we always like to point out is how Hasbro acquired Def Jam Records, which I believe they have now gotten rid of. They passed that on to somebody else.
Not Def Jam, Death Row.
Oh, Death Row. Sorry.
That's West Coast, not East Coast. It's West Coast.
Sorry, everybody. Sorry.
This is why we need Jeremy. He knows.
He does know it all. Yeah. So they've taken on take the existing staff from E1, and they're going to redirect it to the branded entertainment and shut down work on projects like Yellow Jackets and Designated Survivor. So they're looking to rejigger a lot of their stuff. There's something here about also saying that Hasbro has or had a 5-year agreement with Paramount Pictures. So if you knew, the Transformers movies have all been through Paramount. This deal with Paramount is coming to an end at the end of 2022. So they would have to reevaluate their partnership on whether to extend or let it go. And there's a lot of things at play here that have kind of made this decision to kind of reevaluate. It just kind of all is kind of coalescing into one kind of decision to bring everything back into their house and kind of, reevaluate the entire process. So we'll see in the next little while what Hasbro decides to do with their with their entertainment division. But there's still plans for the Dungeons and Dragons movie to come out because it's done. And then Transformers, the Transformers Rise of the Beast movie is also done and it's coming out. So there's no worries about those.
But Daryl, no media conglomerate would completely scrap a movie that was completely done, would they? And just never bring it out, not even even stream it or sell it anywhere? That seems crazy.
Never.
That seems like a waste of money.
Yeah, they would never ever do something like that. Which that kind of brings me into the next thing where we talk about Rise of the Beasts a bit, where Hasbro and their movie properties differ from, say, let's just say, for example, in quotes, the aforementioned Batgirl movie. Hasbro's movie properties are generally tied to toys. So this next story that we're talking about has to deal with the Hasbro and Paramount. They are both attending the Brand Licensing Europe Expo for this year, which will take place in September this month. So the 20th of September of this year, and that's in London, England. This is an expo where Hasbro is likely to show off a lot of toys that are going to be coming up for the coming year, the coming sales quarter, maybe the sales year, but and showing them off for businesses to take a look at them for purchase and that kind of stuff. They are going to highlight their sustainable packaging. And that kind of stuff, where we've seen a lot of that already with the no plastic boxes and that kind of stuff. Hasbro and Paramount are also sponsors of this event, so they will be featured as one of the largest booths on the floor. This has been something that they've done quite a lot in the past. 2016, the Hasbro showcased a lot of character art for Transformers: The Last Night, which opened the next summer, and then in 2018 they displayed content for Transformers Bumblebee, which came out that all came out that same year. So the Rise of the Beast, we all know, has been delayed until 2023. So we fully expect to see something with regards to Rise of the Beast at this licensing expo. And we don't know what it's going to be. It might be toys. I think more in line with what it might be with regards to the 2016 show. We might see character art, something like that. But we've seen some toys already. Like, we've seen those leaked toys that come out for the Rise of the Beast stuff. They're all like, the small commander class kind of stuff. Or the whatever they call the core class. I guess it's core class kind of stuff. I guess that's what they're calling the small stuff now. So yeah, we'll likely see a lot more of that if they do bring toys. But there's no information on what exactly they're going to be showing off at this licensing expo. We'll know once it's over, though. So September the 20th is the date of the show, and we'll have two booths to kind of keep our eye on: the Hasbro and the Paramount booth.
One thing that surprised me about all this is like how prominent Peppa Pig is throughout this stuff. Like I see Peppa Pig everywhere. I didn't know Peppa Pig was such a big thing. Like Peppa Pig's
Peppa
been around
Pig
since
is huge right now, man. Huge.
yeah.
And I mean, obviously, before I had my son, I could give two shits about Peppa Pig. But now that the kid is like, he's like 18 months old, that's all that's on in the house right now. If he's napping, I get the chance to watch something else. If he's not napping, fucking Peppa Pig is on, right?
Is
Like,
it really that bad though? I'm sure Peppa Pig is rich in lore and lessons to learn, and
I am so sick of that stupid family. It's ridiculous.
What like Peppa Pig's been around for a while though, because Peppa
Oh,
Pig was
yeah.
around when my kids were little. They're all teenagers now, and they watch Peppa Pig as little kids. So I didn't know Peppa Pig is like somehow the stealth goat for for Entertainment One.
It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. That's if you
Yeah.
can get something to get hook your claws into like little kids, like little kids, you're set. You are
Mhm.
absolutely set. It's insane how big Peppa Pig is. Nuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, crazy. Peppa Pig is they've like I think there's a movie. I think there's a Peppa Pig movie coming. That's
There
where
might
you'll get
already
your
be
lore,
one.
Scott.
There might already be one that came out, and they're maybe making another one. I don't know. I have no idea. Don't quote me on that. I am not versed in the Peppa Pig universe, the Peppa Pig multiverse.
the movie has been delayed until 2023, but there is a movie.
All right.
See, it's also done.
All right. Well, moving away from business and into video games, which we do have a video game expert on the show, Dr. Pants, or not just video games, games in general, I should say.
Let's not throw the term expert around too much here. We do counter ourselves at Nerdstradamus as filthy casuals, but I might know a thing or two. First up, Renegade Game Studios has, of course, shown off the Transformers deck building Dawn of the Dinobots expansion. This is up for pre-order. We've got some info on it. It will be $30, and it comes with a limited time bonus pack if you pre-order it. Pre-order it that will include Snarl and Razor Claw. These are main deck cards, characters to play as and everything. If you've got the deck building game, this just adds more cards to it, more characters to play as. The whole thing about it is the Dinobots facing off against Shockwave and Devastator, and it is coming with a giant-sized card, the first one in the series yet that is a combiner and a really, really big card. So that's kind of cool that it's throwing an extra little loop in there with it, but once again, you do need the original deck building game to play this, but it is $30. It comes with 60 player cards, 5 oversized character cards, the Devastator card, some standees, rulebook, some tokens, that kind of thing. We did play this on the Transmissions channel. Charles, myself, Jeremy, and Mike all got a chance to play through the original base game. And if you're curious about it, you can go check out that video because we basically go through the whole game on what it's like. It can be cooperative or competitive, but this looks cool, and I wish my friends played the deck building game. I really or played these kinds of games in general, because I had a lot of fun playing the game with you guys, and it was complicated, but once you kind of got into it, it flowed, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I love the Dinobots, and I love Devastator. It's like a no-brainer. But aside from that, into the world of video games, we have the official trailer for Transformers Beyond Reality VR game. This is a virtual reality game. This is exclusive to PlayStation VR, and it's already out. It came out September 1st for $20. Now, the game is you play as a human, a recruit for the Autobots, where you go through and you help them fight the Decepticons while following around with them. This looks absolutely insane. the scale is kind of nuts because you're a human fighting alongside the Transformers, so you feel really small, but you get to look around at everything happening around you. The designs look like the Evergreen designs, so very G1-esque. It could be a lot of fun. I would really like to try it. I don't have a VR, but I have someone I can mooch a VR off of. So maybe if I slip them a 20, I'll be like, let me play this a little bit so I can talk about it. It'd be great if I could record it too.
The game is $20, so you'd be basically offsetting the whole cost of the game for just a taste.
That's what I'm saying. Like, oh no, I'd stay there until I beat it. I'm not just getting a taste. It's like, here, let me play this for a little while and beat this game, and then I'll leave your house. But I don't know. It looks kind of cool. For some reason, I thought it was going to be based on the movie stuff and not like the Evergreen, more G1 style designs. But it looks pretty cool. And for $20, that's not bad. Most retail games are $60. You just got to have a VR to do it. A PlayStation VR.
That was the game that we were talking about before that I don't think you liked, Charles, because you didn't get to play as a Transformer. You were stuck as you. Like, I don't want to be me. I want to be.
No, that's still a complaint for me. So yeah, I mean, this looks interesting, but yeah, I mean, it does look to be like it's on rails. So you're just, kind of moving forward. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to watch Optimus Prime and Megatron fight. I want to be Optimus Prime or Megatron.
I agree with you 100%, Charles. That is how I would rather it happen. But it seems like with a lot of virtual reality games, we haven't hit like where we expect it to go. And it's very much kind of a gimmicky kind of game setup anymore. Like, you get these cool shooters, but they're all on rails. Like, you never really get a truly like immersive experience. And if you do, it's like tacked onto a game that wasn't VR to begin with. So, I mean, this looks fun. And like I said, it's cheap. $20 is $20. It's not much for a game. So it might be worth a shot. If you've got a PSVR, check it out. Might be something for you.
All right. So next up, we've got a couple of new trailers for the Transformers EarthSpark show. So these are really quick. They're just showing on social media. So Paramount's been putting them out on social media. This show will be premiering on Paramount Plus in the fall. So you can see here, this is one of the trailers that's just on their Twitter feed, streaming this fall. And then we have the other trailer is on Instagram. And so you can see here with the, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of not a fan of the super skinny trailers that are, just for social media. Put them up on YouTube so you can like see the full frame. But, they do have them on YouTube, but they're on YouTube Shorts. So it's like, they're also these skinny, like, made for your phone, not for like an actual screen. So there you go.
I mean, I can't complain about it too much because we throw shorts up all the time, but for trailers, that's bull crap. Just make it so we can turn our phone sideways and watch it. This is not how we're going to watch a show.
Go 90, man.
R.I.P. All right. Well, going back to old media, way back in the day. So remember Transformers, the movie, the 1986 movie, not the 2007 movie. So Chris McFeely at TF Nation did a panel on the original draft written by Ron Friedman for Transformers the movie. So this is the first draft. This was apparently, I've got some stats here at the very end of his. So he put all this information up on Twitter, but I think we're still waiting for the video to come out of TF Nation that shows this whole panel. But they went through the whole script and then had people do some artwork to match some of the scenes in the script. So it's a very interesting, and he talks about how the script was 219 pages. This is the original script turned in basically, it was written between August and September of 1984, and the first 132 pages were turned in November, and then the completed script was handed in February 1985. And of course, this was this first draft of the script. Flint Dille declared it incoherent and wrote his own screenplay in a week, called "The Secret of Cybertron." And Flint Dille has talked about this. He actually talked about it when we interviewed him a few years ago. He talked about The Secret of Cybertron and what the story was, but he sadly lost that script and it's never resurfaced. So we still have no idea what was actually in The Secret of Cybertron script. He did mention that I think at the climax was Cybertron transforming, but we don't really have any more information. But then in March of 1985, Flint Dille and the other folks at Sunbow took Friedman's first draft and then made it into the real Transformers the movie script. So it's really interesting. If I'm not going to go through everything on this Twitter thread here, but the interesting things I saw was like the characters. It starts off, you've got Hot Rod, you've got Magnus, but he's not Ultra Magnus, he's just Magnus. And then you've got the old character is Tanker, not Cup. He turns into a tank. But he's basically Cup. He's the old guy who's the old warrior. RC is a field medic, and then Wheeljack is also a main character, and Wheeljack is like the engineer, and he's actually kind of like a male chauvinist, and he's always like denigrating RC. RC's like this awesome field medic and is patching everything up and fixing things, but Wheeljack is like, oh, you're just a girl, you don't know how to do anything, and it's got this weird sexist dynamic between RC and Wheeljack. But then by the end of the movie, Wheeljack realizes how indispensable RC is, and that they have this little mini back and forth, which is weird. But the rest of the script, surprisingly, a lot of what's in here is what you see in Transformers the movie. Like a lot of it is morphed and changed, but it's a lot of stuff that eventually makes it into the original movie. But we'll put a link in the show notes to Chris McFeely's Twitter thread. You can go through it. But you had a lot of artists, some of our modern artists doing artwork here. One thing, in the middle of the movie, there's a section where Optimus Prime and the Autobots are sending reinforcements by train. They're all transformed into vehicle mode and being hauled on this train. And then the Decepticons are like, they do it on purpose to draw the Decepticons in to attack them, because the Decepticons don't know that the train is actually a transformer that then will also transforms and like has superpowers and blasts through all the Decepticons and transforms into a giant snake. So then fights all the Decepticons. But yeah, it's interesting. Megatron does turn into Galvatron. You have these human characters who, like, there is a Daniel, but he's not Spike's son. He's the son of this computer programmer, Ellen Prentice. And then there's another military character who the kid looks up to, but Ellen doesn't like him because the guy is kind of an Indiana Jones type, and he puts her kid in danger because he wants to be like him. So it's Rusty. He says Daniel hero worships Rusty, but Ellen's not a fan of the Colonel. She'd much prefer Daniel focus on his studies. Oh, mom. You always want me to stay home and be boring and not go on an adventure. So. So yeah, it's interesting. It's a fun look at the origins of Transformers the movie, and where the original ideas come from, and how much changed and how much was actually preserved from that original draft. So it's just an interesting look at what was going on there, and I hope the video from TF Nation comes up at some point so we can actually see the whole discussion. And they said they're going to put the whole script online at some point, so you can actually see this. I don't know if you have the stomach to go through 200 and some odd pages of this script, but it definitely was interesting.
I've read worse. I've read many more pages of worse things. You ever read Pride and Prejudice? That book sucks. That whole thing is fascinating. I agree with a lot of people online. Like, why did they cut the trained snake robot? That would have been amazing. And his name was Rails, I think.
Yes.
So cool. I loved it. And the fact that Magnus was basically like, it looked like Orion Pax.
Yeah. Well, I think the artwork is all like interpreted artwork, so it's not like the original concept art. But the one interesting thing is, like, when Optimus Prime dies and his life force, like, there's not even the Matrix is not like this object. It's just like Optimus Prime's life force, and it's given to Magnus. And when it's given to Magnus, he goes from Magnus to Ultra Magnus when he becomes a leader. So that was interesting to see how that was worked in. And eventually that concept of Optimus Prime's life force being transferred eventually became the matrix of leadership. So it's also interesting to see how, like, of course, animation takes a couple of years to produce, but you have the script being written in 1984 before even the show started. And all, like, nothing had aired on TV. None of the toys were just, the first wave of toys were just coming out. They're already in this script they're already planning to kill off Optimus Prime. They're like, yeah, we're going to discontinue his toy in a couple of years, so we're going to kill him off. So it's just interesting. Yeah.
It is, especially because, like, the whole series was based off, what, a 4-episode miniseries? That's what the first little bit
3
is.
episodes.
Oh, 3 episodes. Sorry. Yeah. It's just, no, it's fascinating to get a behind the scenes look at this. And I love how close it is to, like, what the movie we got. It's just interesting to see what could have been.
Yeah.
When the whole thing was just, like, coming out on Twitter and everything, I was following it, and I'm like, wow, this is fascinating. But I kind of want to read that script. I really kind of do, just to see how close it was overall. And also to see how bad was Wheeljack portrayed in the movie. Because it sounds like they made him a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in a couple things. Just the snake train, with regards to it being cut, the idea that it transforms into a snake when they already had a perfectly good train combiner to use. They could have just ported over Raiden, to use as a train combiner. He already existed, so they could have just used him. He was, and then the other one was, and this is a question I've had for a long time, and I think I asked Bob Budiansky it, back when, like, 2011 or something like that, when I first started going to conventions. But I've always wanted to know when the name, like, the names of characters started getting military connotations. So Optimus Prime was never, the name Prime was never given a military, rank, right? It was just his name. He was just the leader. He was Prime. And then you get Ultra Magnus. So, and I think Ultra is his kind of his rank. And then you've got, there might be one more, but Prime's the perfect example, because when the show started, or whatever, whenever they first started writing the comics, they had no idea that they were going to start using these names as ranks. So Optimus Prime was just Prime, and then they kind of fell into that and started using Prime as this military rank. So were they using that in the same kind of connotation for the movie? And because you have Magnus in the movie, and that just is how it kind of reminded me of that, because making him Ultra Magnus kind of gives him his souped up mode, right? When he gets the life essence. You know, because that kind of answers a question as to why, when Magnus gets the Matrix in the movie, why nothing happens to him, right? That's always been a question, because Hot Rod gets it and he becomes, Rodimus Prime. Magnus gets it, nothing happens to him. Fucking Scourge gets it in season 3 and he gets all mutated, right? Like, there's something happens to everybody that gets it except for Magnus, but why? So, I mean, we're looking into a cartoon that, that's 40 years old, but there's always been these kind of questions as far as like, when did the ranking, the military rank name, change happen? And, yeah, so that'd be interesting to see if there was a conscious decision that change made, or if it was just like, oh, well, this is just a convenient kind of, serendipitous name that we have for our leader. Let's just use the name Prime as a rank. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think at least my speculation, and this may or may not be true, but my speculation is that it was not represented as a rank until, like, I mean, even with in the movie, when you have Hot Rod becoming Rodimus Prime, that's not in that first script draft. Like, Hot Rod is like he leads the I guess he like is the last bot standing at the end to lead the Autobots, but he does not like get the essence or turn into Rodimus Prime or anything. So my sense is that Rodimus Prime was the first time that Prime became a rank. I mean, it even seems like, they're just saying, well, Hot Rod's grown up, so we got Optimus Prime, guess Rodimus Prime. That makes sense, right? I mean, that's
yeah.
And then I think later on, like in the comics, Simon Furman created the like lineage of primes where you had Prima, Prime Nova, Sentinel Prime, and then
Right.
Optimus Prime. That was like a couple of years later, and that was started in the comics. So I think that's when you first have the sense that it's actually a ranking or a title that's passed down through the Matrix. So I'm gonna give Simon Furman the credit for creating at least,
Okay. I think the answer that
setting that
Budiansky gave when I asked him this back in 2011 was that he never came up with the name Optimus Prime, so he didn't really, think about that. And I don't remember if he said anything about, Rodimus Prime being, a name he came up with, but yeah, he just kind of, I think he just dismissed the question as being, Optimus Prime wasn't a name I chose, so it, I just kind of, went with what I had. I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. But yeah, I don't remember getting a real definitive answer out of him with regards to that one.
Yeah, I believe it was according to legend, Denny O'Neil was the one who came up with Optimus Prime before the treatment got to Bob Budiansky. So
I asked Denny O'Neil about that when I talked to him.
I was going to say, in terms of like the Matrix, like changing people, I mean, you can make the argument that it didn't start changing anyone until it was opened. Like when Hot Rod gets it and uses and then starts to open it, that's what affects him. And the title Rodimus Prime was given to him by the ghost of Optimus. So also, they actually couldn't use the train bots because the train bot molds were not released until the headmasters were a thing.
Oh, okay.
So they could not actually use Raiden because they didn't have it for Transformers at the time.
Interesting.
It wasn't released in Japan until then?
Well, I'm not finding a release date, but it says that the molds were not released until Headmasters. So I'm actually wondering if that means that they were not able to use the molds from Diaclone until Headmasters was out. So the train bot Diaclone figure might have been out before that, but I don't think they could use it for Transformers until then.
Okay.
That's the way they make it sound is there was some reason that they weren't able to use it before that. So I'm gonna go with that's the reason that we don't just get the trains. I mean, you could make the argument that there were other combiners that could have shown up and done something, but
I mean, that's the biggest argument for the movie,
Yeah.
Yeah. but whatever.
But I mean, I think, given the fact that how early the script was turned in, I mean, that's the movie production and the TV show production were on parallel tracks, so you couldn't a lot of the stuff that you had in the TV show you couldn't get into the movie, just because of it hadn't been worked out on the show side and hadn't been migrated into the. I'm kind of surprised. Like if you look at the like you in the movie, you get like Devastator and the Dinobots showed up in season 1 and the Insecticons, and then like you get like the Seekers and the Triple Changers, and that's about it for season 2. Like, you don't get a whole lot of bots for season 2 other than that. And I think maybe you get Grapple in a background shot somewhere. Oh, I guess Blaster Perceptor season 2.
I'm trying to think of like who else you see in that movie. Was Windcharger season 2 or season 1?
He's season 1. He's season 1.
Okay. My knowledge of debuts is very limited. I'm gonna trust you to know, Charles.
I mean, I can tell you by toys which were season 1 and season 2, but yeah,
I can't.
They may not have been in the movie though.
Yeah, well, and I'm thinking like there's not a lot of Autobots in the movie who aren't new. It's a lot of it's a lot of Decepticons who are the older ones that we get, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you get the Conehead Seekers, the Triple Changers, Blaster and Perceptor, and Blaster's tapes were never in season 2. Blaster's tapes don't show in the cartoon until season 3, so his tapes debuted in the movie.
When did Devastator debut? Because he's a season 2 toy.
Yeah, but he's season 1. He's the last episode of season 1 was Devastator.
Okay.
Yeah. But for the Decepticon Triple Changers, don't we only see in the movie, I think, Blitzwing and Astro Train? Like, we never see Octane, right?
Yeah, Octane didn't show up until season 3 of the cartoon.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, anyway, yeah, go check out the Twitter thread. We'll link to it in the show notes if you're curious, and hopefully TF Nation will put out that video soon.
Here's open.
All right. So that's it for media news, and we will move on to convention news. Okay, one bit of convention news. We've got another announcement for TFCon Chicago, and that's October 21st to 23rd in Chicago. And Sue Blue is going to be at TFCon Chicago. So, of course, she is the voice of RC in several generations of Transformers show. Of course, G1, we just talked about Transformers the movie. She made that role famous as RC in Transformers the movie. And in season 3 of the cartoon, later on, she reprised that role for Transformers Animated. She was also the voice director for Beast Wars. And was she, I think, also Transformers Animated? She's done a lot of work in Transformers.
So she was on the picture. You got that.
Yeah,
voice director.
Beast Wars, Beast Machines, and Transformers Animated. Yes. So, yeah, awesome. Yeah, I met Susan Blue at BotCon 2014 several years ago, and I got a couple pictures with her and David Kay. That was very cool. So, yeah,
nice.
If you have a chance to talk to her, meet her, get some stuff signed, I'd say take advantage of it. So, yeah. All right, TFCon in just a little bit less than 2 months, coming soon. All right, and that takes us to the end of this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. As always, we give a shout out to our Masterpiece Donatrions at the end of every episode of a Transmissions podcast. So, again, these are our Donatrions who contribute at the highest level on the Patreon. So we really appreciate them, and that's why we give them a shout out in every episode. So thank you once again to John 4X Levengood and Demon Tech 82, who really appreciate your support. And Dr. Pants, thank you for joining us again. And why don't you tell everyone where they can find your stuff online?
Well, as always, it is a blast and a pleasure to be here. You can find me and my friends doing the Nerdstradamus thing at nerdstradamus.com and youtube.com/nerdstradamus. Our main outlet is, of course, our YouTube page where we post all our videos. We stream. It's mostly gaming, but we do a lot of nerdy stuff. We do music videos. We do like some comedy bits and whatnot. We just like to have fun. We are self-proclaimed filthy casuals, so don't expect any god tier gaming here, but we do like to have fun. So check us out, and hopefully we'll be back to normal with streaming. It's been a little slow lately. Life is hard. That is what I will say. Life can be hard, but we'll get back to it. And check us out on Wednesdays and Fridays with the streaming. It does get posted in the Transmissions Discord. So if you're not in that, join the Transmissions Discord. It's a blast.
And that's at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. All right. That'll do it for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. Thanks, everyone, for watching and listening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Later.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.